Hello everyone, this is Paukshte Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. Today we continue working with the jacket. I remind you that the picture of it was sent to me by one of my subscribers. There will be a fold on the collar, draping, and a bow on the waistband. This is going to be a double-breasted jacket. Last time I showed you how to make a pattern for the jacket. Today I'm going to show you how to cut and take it. Have a look at the sketch once again. There are the side details instead of the side seams here. I remind you that the right and the left details of the back will be even, and the front details asymmetric. This is the left front detail. Notice that I've put the pattern on the fabric face up. The fabric is also laid on the table face up. These details were also put on the fabric face up. It should be done this way because the front is asymmetric. These are the two parts of the right front detail. There will be a seam here on the waist. I've already made the openings for the draping. I remind you that I've moved the opening of the chest dart here. This part is going to be stitched. Imagine how the draping is going to look like. This is the waistline. This is also the waistline. This is the seam I'm talking about. There will be also a pretty complicated collar in the jacket. I need to cut the front first. When it's done, I'll move on to cutting the side details, the back, and the collar. This is the upper part of the right front detail. This is the lower part of the right front detail. I'm making a mock-up of the modeling fabric. The waistlines and the details should match. Do not forget to check if they do. I'm going to cut the left front detail next. We need to be very attentive when working with the asymmetric details. Do not forget to mark the right and the wrong sides in the details. Do not forget to make notches on the center front and the both details. They should match as well. Here's the center front. These are the left and the right front details. I can move them aside. When I cut the other details, I'll start taking the jacket. I folded the fabric in such a way that the face side is inside the detail. These are the back and the side details. I want to turn the details for the paper not to shrink. As I've already said, these are the back and the side details. I also need to cut the two details for the collar. This is how it's going to look like. Very nice. I usually cut the center back on the grain when cutting the collars. I've decided not to do it in this case. It would be much more convenient for me to stitch the collar if this part is cut at least close to the grain. I can start cutting now.
По направлению долевой нити, вот. Начинаю кроить.
I remind you that I'm cutting the two layers of fabric at once. These are the back, the side, the collar, and the front details. I'm going to ask one of the tailors of my fashion house to tack the back and the side details off the camera. The collar can be moved aside. I'm going to cut the front details first. Do not move the left front detail aside. I remind you that I'll make the draping in the right detail according to the left one. Asymmetry has its own advantages. I remind you that I'm making a mock-up for Ira. If she decides to make such jacket, she'll be able to make it on the basis of the mock-up. This is the center front. I need to mark it in the fabric as well. I'm using a pencil because this is just the modeling fabric. Next, I need to tack the waistline in order to attach the upper and the lower details of the front to each other. The most important thing is that I'm showing you most of the sewing techniques needed for making such jackets. Even though the right and the left front details are different, the side seams in them should be even after being stitched. Anyway, I remind you that there will be the draping in the right detail. I'm taking the seam from the right side for it to be stronger. Do not forget to mark the bust top in the details. It should be done in advance. The first fold should be made here and end right in the bust top.
Первая складка у нас закладывается вот сюда, на вершину груди.
Just imagine how beautiful the draping is going to be.
Вот здесь вот все.
Don't try to make these edges straight when making the draping. You'll just cut the extra pieces later. It's absolutely okay. Wow, the draping looks very beautiful. As I've already said, this edge is going to be made straight later. Notice that the direction of the shoulder hasn't been changed. This part should be altered a bit. I'll make one more pleat here. You know what I find myself thinking about? I've promised to show you more complicated designs and techniques, and I'm keeping my promise. I'll make this edge more straight. Next, I need to trace the darts to the wrong side. Oh my, the jacket is going to be so beautiful. As I've already said, I need to trace the darts to the other side. To do that, I need to pin the pattern here. Ira is going to look absolutely gorgeous in this jacket, even though it's just a mock-up. Perfect. Next, I need to tack the darts. When it's done, I'll check if the front details are even. I'm taking the dart. I also need to tack the waist tack. I remind you that it's written here that the center front should be cut on the grain. It's placed right on the grain now. These are the right and the left front details. I've tacked most of the seams off the camera. I did it in order not to waste time. The center back, the side details, the left front detail, and the right front detail. This is how the jacket looks like now. Notice that it's a bit wider on the hips. Next, I need to tack the shoulders. When I finish taking the jacket, Ira will try it on. I remind you that this is just a mock-up. I'll also tack the collar. This is how the jacket looks like now. Next, I need to tack the collar. Notice that there's an angle here. It's okay, don't pay attention to it. Tack the collar in such way that the seam is hidden under the collar on the right side. Pin the center back on the collar to the center back in the garment first. As I've already said, the collar should be tacked in such way that the seam is hidden under the collar on the right side. I'm taking the collar just for the fitting.
делается.
Don't stretch or gather fabric when taking the collar. The collar was cut in such way that the fold should be naturally made when the collar is attached to the garment. I've tacked the collar. This is how it looks like now. Next, Ira is going to try the jacket on.
Сейчас мы с вами
When she does it, I'll show you how the collar should look like. It's okay this way. I want you to have a look at the collar. I need to make it accurate on the back first. When it's done, there will be made folds on the front. Wow, it's very beautiful. If you cut and tack the collar accurately, it will look amazing.
сама. И вот наш
This is how the jacket looks like now. We haven't changed anything off the camera.
ничего не поправляли, мы
I showed you how to make a pattern for this jacket, how to cut and take it. I showed you everything very thoroughly.
У Иры теперь вот такой макет.
I want the collar to be perfect. I remind you that we haven't stitched or doubled it yet.
Продублирован ничего.
It's impossible to make it look perfect without that.
Чтобы он уже был красивый, красивый.
Anyway, you can see that the collar looks very beautiful even so.
Не надо вот тут вот
Don't make strong pleats here.
Она должна
The fold should be smooth and beautiful.
мягкой. Да, вот так вот. Да, была бы
Right,
мягче,
if
а
the
это
fabric was softer, the collar would have looked even better.
жесткий хлопок.
The mock-up is made of the pretty strong cotton fabric.
Вот эти складочки.
Have a look
когда
here.
вы уже их
This
вот
part
так
can be
вот
altered a
можно
bit.
еще немного. Кстати,
I'm not going to do it on the other side,
не талии,
but this one can be made tighter.
с этой стороны с той нет, а вот с этой да. Нет. Здесь
I remind you that the front is asymmetric.
симметрично.
I've added a lot more for the ease to the front detail.
А с другой нет. Здесь же мы раскрывали, и это давало нам свободу. В общем,
Now you know how to make such amazing collars.
у нас во время моделирования
There were the
когда
additional
был
details
сделан
added here.
треугольник. И вот
Due to
этот
this fact,
треугольник
these folds are very
создали
beautiful.
вот эту вот волну. Ну, я бы
I think that the collar should be made a bit tighter. I'll cut it this way. Right, I'm going to cut your ponytail. I think that the collar looks much better this way. Here's the sketch. Here are Ira and me. Good job.
вот я
I did do a good job. Ira can make a jacket on the basis of this mock-up.
это сделать
It will be very easy for her to do it. There will be no need for her to measure or calculate anything. Don't be afraid of the complicated designs. I remind you that the picture of this jacket was sent to me by one of my subscribers. That's all for today. Be different and beautiful. We were Paukshte Irina and Ira. Subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.